This is Sarah Wilkinson from Humber College and the University of Guelph-Humber. In this third video of the nervous system series, I'm going to cover some basic neuron anatomy. In two previous videos, I've covered what the electrochemical gradient is and how the nervous system is divided, so its organization. In this one, I'll talk about the different parts of a neuron, which is the basic cell of the nervous system, so that we can move on to how neurons communicate through action potentials and at their synapse. So if we look at the basic nerve cell, we call it a neuron. The basic unit of the nervous system is the neuron. So we think about it as the nerve cell. And its role is to conduct messages between body parts by changing the membrane potential. So it sends electrical signals down its main axon. So you can see here that it has a lot of the similar features of a regular cell, but that it's very elongated. So it's a very long cell. On this picture on the right hand side, you can see how nerve cells are interconnected. So you can see here that this neuron connects to another one, and this picture on the right hand side shows a picture of that. Some of the key features of neurons is that they can live for a very long time. So they can function for over 100 years. They need to be able to do that because they're amitotic, meaning they don't divide. So a neuron, once damaged, cannot replace itself. Furthermore, they have a very high metabolic rate, so they need to be able to produce a lot of ATP. And for this, they require a high supply of oxygen and glucose. So proportion to their weight in our body, they use more oxygen and glucose than most other tissues. So let's start off by talking about the cell body. The cell body is pictured right here. It contains all the usual organelles we would expect to see. So you can see we've got a nucleus, we've got some mitochondria, some ribosomes, and a whole host of other organelles we would usually expect to see in a regular cell. Projecting from the cell body, we have two extensions. The first one being dendrites. So these extensions coming into the cell body right here, those are called dendrites. And the projection coming off of the cell body is called the axon. So nerve impulses, or what we're going to call action potentials, will travel down dendrites through the cell body, and if the signal is great enough, continue down the axon. As I said earlier, dendrites receive impulses from other neurons. So I'm going to illustrate this here with my star referring to an action potential. The action potential is going to move towards the cell body and then down the axon. The main axon will divide into little branches called axon terminals. Here pictured we have several axon terminals coming off the main axon. If we blow up this axon terminal, so if we blow up this little one axon terminal connecting to the next neuron, you can see here that the axon terminal contains little sacs, little vesicles, and these vesicles contain something called neurotransmitters. Different neurons contain different neurotransmitters, and in future videos I'll talk about some of them. So you may have heard of acetylcholine, serotonin, dopamine. Those are all neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are responsible for communication between neurons. So the area where there's communication between two neurons is called the synapse. Within a synapse, we have the presynaptic neuron. So you can see here this neuron is going to send an impulse to the postsynaptic neuron. Okay, so we have a presynaptic neuron and a postsynaptic neuron. And these two neurons are separated in space physically by what's called the synaptic cleft. It's a space between two neurons. Neurons are surrounded by supporting cells. and some of these supporting cells produce myelin. We can refer to myelin as a membranous lipid that protects, insulates, and increases the conduction velocity. In future videos, I'm going to talk about how myelin increases the speed of the action potential. Let's take a moment to review. I want you to pause this video when I say so that you can name all these structures. So go ahead, pause your video, take some practice. Welcome back. Let's see if you got the answers right. So our first structure up at the very top here is called the dendrite. The action potential will travel down the dendrites to the cell body. The projection off of the cell body is called the axon. The axon further divides into axon terminals that can then communicate with other neurons. Finally, myelin covers axons. What I didn't talk about was this area here where the axon originates from the cell body. We call this the axon hillock. This will be important when we talk about graded potentials, whether an action potential actually occurs down an axon or not. Let's take a moment to blow up our synapse and see if you can name the structures in a synapse. So take a moment, pause this video, and see if you can name the structures. Welcome back. Let's see if you got it right. Our first arrow points to the presynaptic neuron. The arrow at the end points to the postsynaptic neuron. And in between these two neurons is the synaptic cleft. Finally, contained within the presynaptic neuron are vesicles containing neurotransmitters. In the next video, I'm going to discuss how an action potential is propagated down a neuron, how the signal is sent. You'll want to review resting membrane potential, electrochemical gradient, and the anatomy of a neuron before continuing on to that video.